All right, you guys ready?
Born ready.
Yay, okay, let me give you a quick introduction to the wonderful and talented Scott Zimmer. He is the system-wide librarian. So he's the informationologist. So, Scott, take it away.
Right, I'll take it someplace. Good to see everybody. Appreciate your attention. I just want to say before I start that I'm sort of where you guys are right now because I'm doing a dissertation as well. I'm working on my proposal, so I've been teaching classes like this for many years, but now I'm having to actually do it, which is a whole other experience. What I'm going to be covering today is just a quick, like lightning quick overview of how to use the library website to find different types of things. And then I want to switch gears and show you something called Mendeley, which is citation management software. Some of you might have heard of. I'm not really pushing Mendeley, although it is what I use. They certainly don't pay me or anything like that, but I just want to get the point across that it's really important for you to use some kind of citation management software. It used to be kind of gimmicky, and you could either take it or leave it. Now it's, I mean, you'd be crazy to do a dissertation without having that kind of support. I'm going to go kind of quickly, but feel free to interrupt me with questions or save them to the end, whatever you prefer. And I know a lot of you are already familiar with some of this stuff, so I'm not going to go into like a huge amount of detail about it. First, I'll just run through some slides very quickly, and I want to say, too, that you can get a copy of the slides. They're not like, it's not life or death or anything, but if you want a copy, you can just email library@alliant.edu. I also would like you to remember that email address because it goes straight to me, and I check it all the time. So if you need any kind of help or guidance of any kind, especially research-related, feel free to use that, and I will either answer your question or get you to the right person. Okay? Cool. So I'm going to just start moving through these slides fairly quickly. This one just shows you, obviously, the library website and then the email address that I just mentioned. You want to get those tattooed on your body someplace or burn them into your memory because, yeah. Library@alliant.edu, easy to remember, and we get stuff done, whether it's, like I said, whether it's helping you directly or connecting you to the right person. This is just going to give you a quick overview of the different parts of the library website. So this first slide is showing you how to look for books. I should point out that for a lit review, obviously you need a wide range of materials. So you need some books, you need some articles, you need some stuff that probably doesn't fit into either of those categories, like DVDs, video interviews, what have you. So I like to think of literature searching as searching for articles and searching for everything else. There isn't one search that does all of that. If there was, it would do probably a very poor job. So you have to do kind of the same keyword searching for different kinds of materials. You'll have to do it more than once. This is showing you how to look for books, and I'll go through this in an example in a second. But like, if you want to get these slides and then have this to refer to later on so you're sure that you're doing it correctly, that might make a lot of sense. After you do an initial search for books, then you can use what are called facets to narrow down the search results. I like this approach a lot better than trying to be super specific about searching up front. Trust me, this will all make sense in a second. People are like, I like to do a very general search to start with and then filter it down. And we'll talk about why that makes more sense, at least to me. And I'm the one talking. So this one shows you how to do a different kind of search for books. And what's circled here is something called Link Plus. Again, I'll show you what this means, but Link Plus is basically a consortium that we belong to. So if Alliant doesn't own the book that you're looking for, you search for it in Link Plus. Usually they have it, and you can borrow it just as if it were at another of our campuses. Right? Cool. Then, once we're done searching for things that are not articles, when we're ready to search for articles, we're going to go to Research and then click on Databases. That's all that's telling you. And if you've done this, or when you get around to it, you'll find that we have a list of about 50 different databases that we subscribe to. You don't have to search all of those. Most of them have a subject focus, so you're just going to pick the databases that are appropriate to your discipline, like education or business. Sometimes, though, you will want to search across all databases. So this is telling you how to do that. It's by clicking on this link called EBSCOhost Research Databases. And when you do that, it lets you check off like however many you want out of about 20 databases that you can search all at the same time. And usually, you want to do that when like you have a citation and you just want to know how to get to it. So you would search all the databases at once to find out where it lives. All right, let's see. And then this is just showing you how to check the boxes, which is pretty straightforward. All right. Another big part of your literature search, unfortunately, involves patience. Sometimes we're not going to have the article available in full text, but we have mechanisms in place for you to order the full text of it and have it delivered to you by email. So this slide is just showing you that we have a find full text link. So anytime you see that, it's kind of discouraging to not see the PDF link, but you do want to click on this because it's either going to find the PDF for you or it's going to help you order it very easily. I know this is boring and abstract, but it'll make sense in a minute when we start doing it. Here's an interesting slide. We all deal with lots and lots of information all the time, and sometimes it's hard to take it in. So this is what you see when you try to get to the full text of an article, and we don't have it, so it's going to help you order it. And you wouldn't believe how many people I hear from saying, how do I get this article? It's not letting me. All it tells me is this. Click here to request it for free through Article Reach Interlibrary Loan. This is one of those times where I pull my hair out and take a deep breath, because what you do to order the article is you click here to request it for free through Article Reach. It's just that simple. And then finally, this is just reminding you that...
Scott, can I ask, if you click this button, though, what happens? It comes to you via email?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I've clicked that button like 500 times. I've never gotten anything.
Then we probably need to check and make sure that we have the correct email on file for you. Because whatever the library has in its system, like if it's going to an address that you never look at, then that would be a problem. Well, theoretically it would be, but what you can do is go into My Library Account and see which email is listed. There's also a possibility that it's going to the correct email, but it's being put in the spam folder. But send me a message and we'll figure out what's going on. So most of these slides, again, are just for your reference later on to refresh your memory about what we're going to talk about here. I think that's the last one. Any questions before I do a couple of examples? Yes?
So I enjoy using bookshelves, so the e-library. Is there a way, like when I order something like that, full text or something, is there any way that you can have them send the document straight into my bookshelf?
In eBrary.
Are we linked that way, or is it separate?
I'm pretty sure eBrary's bookshelf feature is just for eBrary content. Okay. You can't really add documents to it.
Okay.
But have you used Mendeley or something similar?
No.
Okay. So that...
I just went to your library setting
right.
For my classes. I've been using it, and that's eBrary has really been helpful for me.
Right.
Scott, let me stop you. They can't hear her question, so what we are making.
So
repeat her question for the audience at home.
Got it.
Okay.
Sorry about that, everyone.
No worries.
The question was, can you use eBrary's bookshelf feature to manage documents and articles that you receive through other avenues?
There's a question. What is eBrary?
eBrary is one of the databases, and it mainly consists of ebooks. So our eBrary collection has about, and you can find them while you're searching in the catalog here. So eBrary's bookshelf feature lets you log into eBrary and set aside certain books on a virtual bookshelf. And you can like highlight in them, and basically just, it's an easier way to keep track of them.
Oh, I got it. Electronic library.
Yes.
And it's one
I don't miss
That'd be a
it.
good name for a business.
Library. And it's wonderful because when you do highlight and quote from an eBrary document, when you place it into a Word doc or any other kind of doc that's manipulable,
right.
It will automatically put in APA format for you.
You're going to love Mendeley.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Whoa.
So
Excellent.
you already outlined the benefits of eBrary. super cool. The limitations are that it only works on eBury content.
Right. That's why I asked if I can pull from it.
Right. But, I mean, one of the important things that to realize today is that you approach the literature review and your whole dissertation like you're a handy person with a tool belt. You don't have just one tool, right? You've got eBury, you've got Mendeley, you've got Microsoft Word, like way back there. So you have this whole array of things that you're going to have to use, because there's not one thing that fixes every problem. So definitely use eBury and its features for eBury content, but then we'll look at some other tools that have like more general application. Yeah.
If you don't have a database, like Sage was the one I was trying to find a bunch of articles from, is there a way for us to request that through the library?
The question...
I tried somebody up front, and she was saying, like, oh, we can look for it, but I never heard back. So.
Okay. The question is, if we don't have a certain database, is there a way to request it? Are you talking about requests that the library subscribe to the database, or...
Request for the particular article, or...
Okay. So the follow-up is requesting a particular article. Absolutely, there are ways to do that.
Okay.
And I can go over how to do that. To expand on this tool belt metaphor, the Alliant databases have lots of content that's going to be helpful. Certainly not all the content. And there are also tools out there now like Google Scholar, which make it super easy to find at least the citation that you're looking for, if not the full text. If you've got the citation, you can bring that over to the library website, and I'll show you how to plug it in, and you can order the article whether or not we subscribe to it, or whether or not we subscribe to a database that even indexes that journal.
Actually, you can type Google Scholar there, and you can take it straight and download it. You don't have to type anything. So if you look at databases in there, and then go to the bottom with a G, it says Google Scholar.
Right. Yeah, so the comment was that on the library's databases page, we have Google Scholar linked. Good question would be, why do we do that? Because Google Scholar is available to anybody with an internet connection. We put it there because we run it through what's called a proxy. So if you log into Google Scholar through the library, then theoretically at least, the search results that come up in Google Scholar, it's going to have PDF links to content that the library has the rights to access. Whereas if you were just sitting at Starbucks and went to Google Scholar directly, a lot of the content would not have PDF links because it would think you're not entitled to it. So yeah, definitely use Google Scholar under some circumstances, and there's that added feature too, that it sort of connects you to the content that we pay for. Is there another question?
Do we also request the books in Google Scholar?
The question is, can you request books through Google Scholar? Not directly, but the way this works is Google Scholar is really good at indexing what exists. And once you know that something exists, then I'll show you how to request it through the library.
Actually, if you click on it, I've done it before, it will take you back. You request a book in Google Scholar, it will take you back to the library and allow you to know where it's.
So there's a comment that clicking on a book result in Google Scholar search results will take you back to the Alliant library, which, as long as you log into the Google Scholar site through the library, should work. Other questions? All right. So I'm just going to do a couple of demonstrations, and we'll see how this works. I heard one topic about you're interested in leadership, I think, so I'll just start by doing that. And just as a refresher, since I'm going to research leadership, I know I have to do at least 2 sets of searches, one for articles and one for everything else that's not an article. I like to start out with the stuff that's not an article because it's a lot more straightforward. So on our website here, I've got 3 choices, basically. Encore and Classic Catalog both search what Alliant has in its collections at all its campuses. Link Plus, like I said, searches what the consortium has. One easy way to irritate a consortium that you belong to, though, is to request books from it that you already have at your own campus. So that's why we suggest that people first see if Alliant has it, then see if Link Plus has it. All right? So I just type in leadership. And this gets back to what I mentioned earlier. I like to do a very simple search and then narrow down the results. The reason I like to do it that way is if you spend a lot of time up front configuring your search, saying, I want leadership in the title, I want Johnson in the author, I want the years 1996 to 1998. I want it in English, published in the United States. If you enter all that detail, you get so specific that you filter out everything. And it's hard to tell what you did that screwed it up. So it works better if you do a general search and then step by step filter out stuff that you don't want. Does that make sense? Cool. So we've got 3,386 items that mention leadership.
Is that all?
Probably going to be enough, yeah. And then down the middle here we have the search results. And then along the side we have these facets that we can use to narrow down. So if I just wanted dissertations that mention leadership, I'm going to click on the facet that says thesis. Librarians love to use words that are the opposite of what you would think they would be. We don't call it dissertation. We call it thesis. Yeah. Thesis.
Oh, thesis.
Yeah. So, and it tells you in parentheses here how many of the items in the result set match that result. So I click on thesis. And now I'm looking at all the dissertations that mention the word leadership. I can break it down further. It tells me where these dissertations are located, like what campus they're at. I could also break it down by ones that have my search term leadership in the title. That's probably a good idea. I'll do that.
Wow.
So this gives us 235 dissertations.
Whoa.
Then we have some basic sort methods here. So we could sort it by relevance, by date, or by title. I think by default it usually puts the newer ones near the top.
It's Mona. She's a student here.
Yeah, Mona.
Mona.
I would hope so, dude.
She's famous. All right, keep working.
We had to do a really broad search to find her cousin.
You'll also notice that most of these dissertations have links that say available full text online. So as long as the dissertation was done after 1997, it's very likely that you'll be able to get the whole thing online without having to come to the campus. So I just click on the link, and it takes me over to the ProQuest database that contains the dissertation.
Question.
Yes?
Can you access theses from other institutions?
Question is, can you access theses and dissertations from other institutions? Yes, you can. And so before I forget, holy smokes, what's going on? Oh, never mind. This thing's all jittery. That's okay.
Yeah, it's been cutting in and out. So
Let's go back here. So I'm going to go to Research Databases. And under the D section, Dissertations and Theses, this is like going in the front door to the ProQuest system. And here, when you do a search, you're searching institutions all over North America. So if I search leadership here, whoops, and tell it that I want it in the title of the document, I get 20,000 dissertations.
wow.
Again, most of these are available in full text as long as they were done after 1997. Yeah.
Did you say they're in full text?
Yes. You can, through ProQuest, even if it's not full text online, you could usually purchase full text from them if it was a dissertation you absolutely had to have, because they have everything archived and digitized, but their online archive goes back to 97 for the most part. You'll see a few too, like this one where it says find full text. That's usually because the author has put an embargo on it because maybe they're going to publish a book and they don't want it out there yet or something like that. All right. Moving on.
And you guys got to read them.
Yeah. And important safety tip about dissertations, they're good to look at, especially if you can find one close to your topic, because they have a ready-made lit review and bibliography. Not that you would copy it, but you can sort of use it to see, am I missing anything? Are there any names here that I don't recognize? So, definitely don't try to read the whole thing without having a buddy or something, because you might die of boredom. But
In your review of something that you search, you recommend you read the summary and then maybe chapter 5 conclusion to see if it really fills your search needs?
Yeah, I mean, most of these things have an abstract. I go through and do it sort of by, I don't know, 10 or 15 pages. So I can see, okay, this is what I want to know. And then I can go through and read the abstract. And then I can see, okay, this is what I want to know. And then I can go through and read the summary. And then maybe chapter 5 conclusion to see if it really fills your search needs. Yeah, I mean, most of these things have an abstract. I go through and do it sort of by process of elimination. I mean, I try to rule things out as quickly as I can, and the ones that are unfortunately relevant that I have to look at more closely, then I set those aside and come back to them. But yeah, it's first I would go by the abstract, and then I start going through. I read the introduction and the conclusion, and I do that for both journal articles and for dissertations. There's also the tried and true method of speed reading, where you read the first paragraph of the introduction, the last paragraph of the introduction, and you do that for each chapter instead of trying to read the whole book, and that way you can get through the thing and find out how relevant it is to your work within 20 minutes or something. Anywho, okay. Do that search again here. So again, this is all the stuff we have on leadership. I'm just going to look at the books for the time being. E-resource, I should point out, those are e-books, similar to eBrary content.
So not everything's free? Some things are free, some things are not free?
Most things are free.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
What, did you have a question about a particular
Just
thing?
curious. I remember back in the old days when I was working on my thesis, some things you had to pay for. Like,
You still have to pay for some.
Yeah, some, like-
They ask for them.
yeah, is Eric still around? Yeah, journals, some of the journals.
Well,
I don't know, even the journals, like I've come across stuff that I thought I had to pay for, but I emailed you and you're like, oh, I'll find it for you, and
Yeah.
pretty soon I got it.
I would say it might seem like more to some of you, but maybe 1 or 2% of cases we have to charge somebody. And the way that works is you put in an interlibrary loan request for something. We ask everybody we can find, and we start with the people who do it for free. Only if we can't get it from anyplace else do we accept charges. And when we accept charges, we pay the first $15. So most articles are like $5 or $10 between libraries.
Oh, cheap.
So usually the student doesn't have to pay. If there's a fee in excess of $15, then you'd have to pay the difference. So if Harvard's going to charge us $20, you're going to pay $5. Because we pay the first 15, sorry.
Well, we all know dissertation students don't mind spending money. So
I know.
Why would go to school?
We actually, librarians in general are so opposed to charging for stuff, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right.
I know.
Once the article is purchased, is it part of the institution?
No, that would be nice. Unfortunately, publishers and copyright don't allow that to happen. But, you get to do whatever you want with the article.
Right.
But, within reason. But no, it doesn't become part of our permanent collection or
I think
anything.
if he is interested in organizational culture, as am I,
Yeah.
he gets an article, I get the same one. You have to pay for it twice.
Yeah.
Pay per use.
Those, you guys have probably heard of the Harvard business case studies. What? Are we recording this?
Yeah.
Never mind. Man, those things stink. They don't sell them to institutions. They only sell them to individuals. So every single person in the class has to buy their own.
Really?
And it's just a story. It's a case study.
Wow.
It's a story. Okay, so I wanted to show you ebooks. I clicked on the e-resource facet here. So almost all of these have ebook links, and I just click on that to get to the full text. And so we have unlimited access to this book. This, by the way, is ProQuest eBrary, so this is what she was talking about. And you have different options for reading through the book depending on how the vendor has it set up. So we get ebooks from different companies. Usually, as long as you're connected to the internet, you can just sit there and read page after page after page. There's also an option to download the ebook, and usually the vendor has some kind of software that they have you install, and then you can, for 2 weeks, you can read the book on your computer, and then it'll disappear, and you can download it again. Most ebooks also let you print or save certain sections, so up to 50 or 60 pages. All right, moving on. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to speed up just a tad. So, we've looked at how to search for books. Let's look quickly at how to search for and order articles. I'm going to go to Research and then Databases. I don't want to search all of these things, so I'm going to choose Business Source Complete to look at leadership stuff. And then I'll just type leadership. And we'll do that search. 167,000 articles.
That's even worse.
That ought to do it. So now I start filtering out. A quick and dirty, easy, whatever, way of filtering is to look for your keywords in the title of the article. Increases the chances that the article will be relevant to the topic instead of just mentioning the term leadership in passing. So now we have 28,000. Another good thing is to limit to scholarly and peer-reviewed journals. Those are usually the kind of content that your committee is going to want you to rely on. Just means that the articles in the journal have been reviewed by an editorial board of subject matter experts who agree that you know what you're talking about, or the author knows what they're talking about. And then for each item in the results, either there's a full text link or there's this full text finder. I can also click on the title of the article to read more about it, specifically in the abstract. Let me go back for a second. Let's say I wanted to get a hold of this article, The Role of Status and Leadership Style in Sales Contests. So I'm going to click on Full Text Finder. The first thing it does is it double checks across all of the other databases to see if we have access to it. In this case, we don't, so it gives me this option, the one I was sort of lamenting about earlier. And if I want to order it, I click on this link here. It asks me to log in with my last name and Alliant ID. So I do. It fills out the form for me. I know you guys are used to this, but it's still awesome to me, so I'm going to mention it. Love it. So I just scroll down, click on Submit, and then 80% of these are delivered as an email with a link to the full text within 27 hours or so. The ones that are not don't get thrown away, by the way. We just keep looking, and it takes a little longer. So. All right. Yes?
We have a question from an online viewer. Why wouldn't you want to just search all databases at once? I know you want to narrow it down, but couldn't you be missing something important? For example, maybe PsycNet and eSubconscious. So wouldn't you want to start by searching all databases?
It depends on the topic. One reason that you wouldn't is when you search across all databases, you only have the option to search within fields that all of the databases have in common. So a database like PsycInfo has a field called Tests and Measures, where you can search by specific psychometric instrument. If you're searching across all databases, you're not going to have that option because that field doesn't exist in Business Source Complete or in Education Research Center. Does that make sense?
So the psychology stuff wouldn't overlap with the education with the business?
Right, because they have different types of information are relevant in different fields. So usually the times that I search across all databases are when my topic is so broad that it could be mentioned in all databases, or when I'm just I have a citation and I'm just trying to find out where it is to get to it. If I'm doing like discipline-specific research, like leadership styles and like, I don't know, some kind of sales or contact tracking software that's only relevant to business, I would just search in a business database. The more specific you get, the more likely that you're going to be better off looking in a subject-focused database.
Yeah, being a math guy, usually I just type it into Google.
You can do that
That's
too.
my database hurt. I just type it into Google.
When I strike out in our databases, I'll usually jump over to Google Scholar, plug in the title there, I get the citation, and then I take that back to our system and place an order for the article. Because you can order stuff through our system without being able to find it in the databases. All right.
Thank you.
I'll quickly point that out here. If I can remember what I'm doing. Oh, yeah. On our database page, you'll see a couple of handy things over here. Find article by citation, find article by DOI. These are really handy things to use when you found a citation or something in Google and you want to order it. So find article by DOI. You can just paste the DOI Everyone knows what that is, right?
Okay,
Right on. Digital object identifier.
it's close.
Right. You correctly used the alphabet. But this is super easy way to figure out if a line has full text access to it. You pop in the DOI, it looks for it, either it finds it or it doesn't. Same thing with the citation search. You just pop in what you know about it, and it runs it through our link resolver to see if we have full text access to it.
Quick question.
Yes.
How did you get to the DOI search? You missed it.
Right on. You get to there by going to Research and Databases, and the same page that lists all of the databases has those tools right on the right side of the screen.
Cool.
It is cool. Okay. I should also throw out there, I can't emphasize enough that this is a really quick overview, and if you have questions or need help about anything, like I can't find this particular article even though I'm doing what you told me, that's the kind of thing you want to send an email to or give me a call, whichever is easier, library@alliant.edu. Because the thing with library research is it takes forever to get comfortable with it, and you guys don't have forever. You have like 15 minutes while you're waiting for your friend to get ready so you can go someplace. In those 15 minutes, you can find a citation and email it to me and say, I'm having trouble locating this. So we want to show you how to do this, but we also want to be available for you basically all the time. So if you get stuck on something, don't let it be an obstacle to you. Just sort of outsource it to us, and we'll help you figure it out.
You guys still have that little chat box?
Yeah, we do. Weekends are kind of spotty, so I don't think anybody's online right now.
Yeah, I've used that personally. They're great.
Yeah.
Type in what you're looking for, 30 seconds, bam, they have the answer for you right there. So.
Just want to switch gears very quickly. How much time do we have?
You got about 7 minutes, and I was going to say, you can show them the...
Mendeley?
No, not the Mendeley. What was the thing that replaced Mango?
Oh, Rosetta Stone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can give them a little two-minute tour about that, might be all.
Okay.
Can I ask that question real quick before
Sure.
we go to that? In the physical library, is there a way to figure out which dissertations are leadership? Are they in a section, or because it seems like they're all spread out? Like I keep pulling site stuff down.
Yeah, shelf browsing doesn't work too reliably.
I know that's the worst part.
Yeah. Sorry. But what I would suggest is you use the online catalog the way we did to find leadership dissertations. And using that, first of all, you have full text access to most of them that way anyway. But it'll also tell you which ones are of interest to you, and then you can go find those on the shelf. Because on the shelf, they're chronologically ordered.
Chronological?
For the most part, yeah. There's like big chunks of the 80s, the 90s. Yeah.
Online question.
Yes.
What do you do if a DOI is not listed in a citation? How would they find it?
You can still find it. Best ways are to just search by the title of the article. Paste that into a database search or paste it into Google Scholar.
Yeah. Okay, they're asking if you have a PowerPoint presentation for this. But no, what am I going to do is I'm going to make a video out of these things and send everybody out the link. So we'll have 3 separate videos, one for Courtney, one for Scott, and one for myself. And we'll just go from there, but that's about it.
Yeah, I do have a PowerPoint if you want to email me, library@alliant.edu. Yeah.
You guys get that?
Okay, so a couple things. In case you guys didn't hear, we just subscribed to Rosetta Stone Languages, which is pretty nice. It's listed under Databases, under the R section for Rich. Just click here on Rosetta Stone.
Oh, really?
It's you can also configure they have a mobile app, so you can set that up too if you would like. Some of that stuff requires a password and username that we're not allowed to put on the website, so you just email us and we send it to you. But it's basically the full product, and they have 30 different languages. Really nice.
It's free. Yeah, they said Mango, and I was playing around with that with Russian, and we have a lot of international students here, so you could say, hey, I like your shoes in about 14 different languages if you want to. So, hey, you need an icebreaker.
You really need one of those, yeah.
Translator?
International translator.
Better than Google. Okay.
Better than Google.
Good.
Question.
we specifically spell Mendeley
Right.
for the citation management software?
So Mendeley is Mendeley, and it's mendeley.com if you want to download it and try it out. It works on Macs and Windows and Linux. Citation management software, other brand names you might have heard of are RefWorks or EndNote. Those are at least $100 usually. Mendeley is free. Does a pretty good job. Question?
I'm just surprised at all these great things that are free out there.
I know.
It's a wonderful word.
It is. What it does basically is it gives you a framework to store the articles and book chapters, things like that, all the documents that you collect as you're doing your lit review. It stores them for you, and it also stores metadata about each of them. Metadata is like in iTunes, you have the information about the song, like the name of the song, the name of the artist, all that stuff. So for an article, metadata is name of the article, name of the author, name of the journal it's in, all the stuff that you need to be able to create a citation for it. And what Mendeley lets you do is organize all that stuff. It lets you securely back it up online, so if your computer explodes, you still have all your research saved.
Whoa.
Yes.
You get free cloud space? Wow.
Yeah. And it integrates with Microsoft Word and other word processors, so you can click a couple of buttons and insert citations for documents in your Mendeley library without having to type them out and without having to know APA very well.
Too easy on these guys. Jeez.
I know. You can also, once you have a document that contains a lot of the citations you've inserted from Mendeley, you click a button that says Insert Bibliography. I can't believe that this happens, but it does. And it goes, and it just spits out the bibliography in APA format.
That's Word.
You're right, I love it.
Word does, but
Yeah, I don't like the Mendeley link because it screws up your whole Word. Like you can change it all in Microsoft Office then. So like I like Mendeley to store stuff, but
Right.
as the insert into Microsoft Word, it just jacks with the whole documentation.
Go ahead and repeat what he said. Real quick, how do you spell Mendeley? Mendeley?
Correct.
Okay. Got it.
So if you
So the feedback is that Mendeley can also mess up the document formatting.
It does Mendeley's version of it. It doesn't make it like an object in Word, where Word can manipulate it. How, like if you change from APA to Chicago because you want to, insert something, Word does that automatically. Mendeley can, but I've noticed it just kind of like plays with it, and you're always stuck with Mendeley taking over all your citations instead of letting Word deal with it.
So the comment is that Mendeley sort of takes over some functions that Word also does. And that's an accurate statement. It's when you use citation management software, it's not like you can mix and match. Like I'm going to use EndNote for this, and I'm going to let Word do this, because they don't interact with each other well. So some people are happy with the way Word handles citations and research. Other people like a separate application because of the storage features or whatever. There are also totally separate things that work with Google Docs, which that's one thing that Mendeley doesn't do that I wish it did. So I don't have time to go into like high-level detail about these, but if you want to talk more about it, just email me and we can set up a time to go over it and find one that works well for you. The important thing is that you're using some kind of citation management tool and that you're backing up your research as you go along.
Is it something that you could actually Mendeley, I've used it and goofed around with it, but is it something you could put in your reference section and have it, check it? Because there's a lot in there, right? I know how to do citations there, that's a lot. I just like to have like a checker.
As far as I know, that would be hiring a human being. Yeah. I don't know of reliable software.
Repeat his question.
I'm sorry. There was a question about, is there a way to have like a formatted bibliography or a set of citations automatically checked for accuracy?
There's not something out there that does that?
Oh, Word. You just got to type it garbage in, garbage out. If you type it in right, it kicks it out right. That's the beauty of it.
I thought there was something out there already.
Mendeley does go in, when you enter stuff in, it actually will compare it to its database. And sometimes you'll get 3 or 4 versions, and it will let you review and decide which is the right version, citation version that I want. And then it'll combine them into, that's my one citation. That's what I like about it.
Right.
It's also really helpful if you go in through the databases, if you find like an article, go in and actually download the little, the metadata for that article, stick it into Mendeley, and then just link the article to it, because it is 100% correct all the time, instead of having Mendeley data mine it for that metadata.
So it has a web clipper too. It'll grab stuff. And then what's nice is sometimes when you click on it, you'll get links to other articles off of that one too that will lead you down different paths. So
right. Yeah, Mendeley has a lot of social features where on their website you can search their article collection. You don't have full text access to all the documents, but it links to other relevant sources based on a good one that you specify.
Online question. Can you show us the process of adding an article to Mendeley? That'll be at the last thing. We got to wind up Scott here in a minute or two, so we'll leave it up to you, Scott.
Will do.
All right, Scott will do that.
So let's see here. I'm just going to take this article, click on the PDF link, and I'm going to download it. And then, so it's sitting on the desktop right here.
Got it.
And I have Mendeley open, so all I'm going to do is click and drag it in here.
Mendeley.
And here's the metadata for the article that I just added. So like you were saying, I could also import the citation information directly, but that's a few extra steps. This is reading the metadata that's associated with the PDF file, and sometimes it's perfect, sometimes it's non-existent. So after you import some stuff, you have to go through this and make sure, oh yeah, this is correct. If it's not, then you just click on it and make the correction, like maybe this is 2014 instead. Once it's correct here, then when you insert it into a Word document or whatever else you're working on, the citation should format correctly. That's how you add an article to your library. And then you would, like, periodically I click on sync, and that makes sure that all my local content is synced with the cloud. So, just to show you, I can't resist the magical moment here. Wait, actually, maybe I have to.
Pretty.
Yeah. Let's see, where are we? Mendeley, install Word plugin. Yes. Okay, so I just installed the Word plugin. Let's see if I can find Word now. I did. So I can type some stuff. That's too small. And if I want to insert a citation, I go up here to References and Insert Citation. I pick the article that I want to cite and click on Cite, and it puts in the in-text citation. And then later on, if I want to insert a bibliography, I do that, and it just pops in the citation like that.
Courtney, did you know about this?
Yes, I didn't know about that.
Oh, we're going to have to make videos
Yeah,
on that
wonderful.
stuff. Oh, my goodness gracious.
You're right, Mendeley is terrific. Thank you.
Oh, my God.
And I mean, we started talking about Mendeley in 2009, and people had never heard of it. Now Word does a lot of the same things, too. I like Mendeley because I do rely on the backup feature as well. So.
Key feature is?
The backup feature is that like all these PDFs that are in my library are synchronized with a cloud account. And so is the citation information. So like I said, if my computer explodes, I buy a new computer because you guys have unlimited funding, I know. And then I just install Mendeley and synchronize it, and everything's back the way it was. And I don't have to carry around a flash drive or email stuff to myself. I like to think about things as little as possible.
Yeah, I'm starting to get on that cloud thing.
Yeah. Another nice thing is I just found out about this, and I have been playing around with it. There's a Chrome extension called PaperPile that I don't think it's free. I think you have to pay like $10 a month. But it will talk to your Mendeley library, import everything, and let you use Mendeley in Google Docs, the same way you would if you were using Microsoft Word. And I like doing that because now I don't have to back up a Word document or carry it around. I just have a Google Doc that has all my stuff in it. So, always new stuff to explore.
It's, cutting edge. It is. All right, so we're going to call it a break time. So, Scott, thank you. Yay! And Everybody online, take 10. We'll be back at noon, okay? So...